now no Draymond, so where does the series go from here? Let's find out. All guests come to you on the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Nice enough to join us. He covers the Warriors and the NBA at large for The Athletic, Anthony Slater. First of all, Anthony, thank you so much for your time. I know this is a very busy period. I'd like to break you off a two-piece. Were you surprised by the decision, and who starts now for the Warriors?
Yes, I was surprised. The Warriors were very surprised. They seemed to sense that, or at least thought that the ejection for 6 pretty important minutes in Game 2 was enough of a punishment, especially with the fact that the NBA acknowledged Sabonis at least did something to instigate it. They gave him a technical for the leg grab. But as they put in there, and it was a decision that, they had meetings yesterday with Sabonis, with Green. It was a decision that was partly based on Draymond's past. So the Warriors have to live with that. They will be playing without him. Who will start for him? A lot of options. It's what the coaching staff is figuring out today. Among those options, you could go young with Jonathan Kuminga, maybe get him a bigger role, which could activate him. You could go Jordan Poole if you wanted to really juice up the offense, try to get Poole going. You could go DiVincenzo, who has been a spot starter. Or you could even go with Moses Moody, who randomly showed up in the rotation, in Game 2.
Yeah. Slater, I heard you ask Steph about...
Hey, wait, Slater. I think he deserves a little more respect than that, right?
Mr. Anthony Slater.
There you go.
Mr. Anthony Slater, I heard you ask Steph after Game 1 about his substitution patterns and how they would address that throughout the series. What do you think Golden State can do better in the non-Steph minutes? Because, he can't play 48 minutes in these games.
Well, Jordan Poole is going to be paid $120 million over the next 4 seasons. He's still on his cheap rookie deal now, but there's a reason they committed to him in the offseason.
Right.
He's part of what Steve Kerr has called their foundational 6. And, he was the 6th man of the year candidate. He was awesome in the playoffs last season. If you go back to the first round last year against Denver, he's scoring 30. 31, 32, big point totals and big wins. I can remember Game 1 in Memphis of the second round. Draymond Green gets ejected for a foul on Brandon Clark. Jordan Poole starts the second half in Draymond's place, and Jordan Poole is great, and they win that game in Memphis. Jordan Poole is partly paid to help them survive those non-Steph minutes. If Alex Len is on the floor and Jordan Poole is on the floor, they should be getting Alex Len in space, and Jordan Poole should be scoring a lot.
Yep.
So, to me, that's the answer. Jordan Poole has to play better. Now, he sprained his ankle pretty badly in Game 1. There was some thought he might not even play in Game 2. He pushed through it. Didn't look that good. So that is a factor, but they just need more from him.
Anthony Slater with us here on Chris and Company, Sactown Sports. To what extent now, with Draymond out, can the Warriors use what happened to Draymond or what the league did to Draymond as some kind of rallying point?
They shouldn't need that. They're down 2-0. They're not only is their season on the line, but really this era in a lot of ways is on the line. And they need Game 3. And Draymond getting suspended. Sure, I think they don't like the decision, but they've been here before with Draymond, and there's got to be some level of blame for Draymond for even giving the league this opportunity. So I don't know that itself will rile them up. But they better get riled up, and they've been very good at home. Their role players tend to play better at home, which is, that's common, right, in the league. So, and maybe the extra opportunity for guys like maybe Jonathan Kuminga can get them going.
You mentioned Alex Len there in your previous answer. And in the past, Golden State's kind of been known for playing bigs completely off the floor. Why, in your opinion, has Alex Len been able to play in this series and really have a pretty decent role for Sacramento?
Well, number one, Mike Brown has smartly only put him on the floor when Steph Curry's off the floor, right? You will very rarely see Len on the floor when Steph isn't. And that's often their key for running centers off the floor is you can't play them against the Steph Curry action. So, and then other than that, again, I don't think Poole's been that effective. I think the only time they've had success against Len in the series has actually been Kuminga. He's kind of had trouble staying in front of Kuminga. But on the other end, Len, he's pick and roll diving to in. He's gotten some dunks. He blocked Draymond at the rim. He's been really physical, forceful, on the glass. And he actually played pretty well. He deserves some credit in that sense. Now, I do think the Warriors, and I would guess over the last couple of days, they're going to discuss ways to target him more, get him out in space, see him kind of, having to guard, out on the perimeter, leaving the back end of the defense a little bit more wide open. The Warriors, truthfully, just need to attack the rim more regularly. The Kings are not a good shot blocking team. They had the second fewest blocks in the league this season, but the problem is the Warriors get a little three happy, and it's something Steve Kerr has mentioned plenty, particularly from game one, but they just got to, go to the paint, because against the Kings, the paint's typically pretty open.
Anthony Slater with us here on Chris and Company. You have been covering the Warriors for years. You've written a lot about the Kings this year. Why do you think the Kings have gotten so much more traction defensively in this series than they were able to get at any time during the regular season?
I mean, they're extremely locked in right now. Mike has been playing very physical, and that the playoffs are a more conducive environment to physicality. I think Davion Mitchell's ability to hit a few jumpers in game two and stay on the floor as long as he did, which, he's a good defender. So if he can stay on the floor and guard Steph Curry, that's their best option. It's kind of like a primary Curry defender. I think Malik Monk has surprised me with his ability to kind of pick up full court, and he's not some elite defender, but he's trying out there. He's long, he's super athletic. They're getting a lot of deflections. I think Harrison Barnes has played well. De'Aaron Fox has, he's not a guy he's not a stopper, but how many quick hand steals does he have coming from behind, tipping away a pass, something like that. So I think collectively they're just really locked in. I think Mike Brown's knowledge of the Warriors, not even just his Leandro Barbosa's and Luke Glass, they know the Warriors much better than most coaching staffs do. So I just think they've scouted well, and clearly the team has absorbed those lessons well.
Yeah. Golden State hasn't really shot well at all so far to start Golden State side. That just returning to chase will help the Warriors shots fall.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the Warriors. Their confidence always remains. I mean, go ask Klay Thompson if he's worried about, missing some shots. So, I mean, if Klay has a belief, and I think a lot of people do that, a Klay game looms somewhere in the series, maybe a couple of them, right, where he just gets super hot and, goes on a 18-2 run by himself, essentially. I do think Poole will play better. He, at least this season has, I don't know, Chase Center seems to activate him a bit more. So I think they're confident, but again, they just lost their best defensive player, and they are going against the best offense in basketball this season. So it's a challenge, and the Kings are coming in with confidence, and I think the first quarter is going to tell us a lot.
Anthony, we appreciate your time. I'll let you go with this one. Were you surprised there weren't more Warrior fans at the Golden One? And do you have any idea how many Kings fans the Warriors are expecting to show up at Chase?
I was surprised that there were, it's just a week earlier. I know it was the regular season, but there was a lot of Warriors fans near that regular season finale in Golden One. And I think Warriors people had been given an indication they thought it might be 70-30 in Golden One, and it was not. It was not 70-30. It was 93-7, something like that. And I do expect to see some purple in Chase, just there was some Celtic green during the finals in Chase Center, but I assume it'll be similar, 90-10, something like that, maybe even less. But hey, I was surprised once in this series. Maybe I'll be surprised again. And then, purple will reign in Chase, and they'll be singing Light the Beam. And, the series has already gone away. I didn't think it was going to go. So who knows?
Yeah. Anthony, thank you. We appreciate it. Talk to you soon.
Appreciate it.
All right, fellas.
Yeah. He's kind of busy right now.
Yeah. Mr. Anthony Slater.
I'm sorry.
The best in town.
I'm sorry. You can call him whatever you want. I'm serious.